if I were going to start a soap business today, there is one thing that I would do a lot of. And it's the first thing that falls by the wayside when people are starting to build a soap business. You want to know what this very important thing is? It isn't a secret and it isn't hard, but it is very important. I would make sure to lock in my soap production routine. So grab your coffee and let's chat about how to make sure you have something to sell in your soap business. Making soap as a business. I know that seems like the silliest thing to have that you would have to remember to do. This is a soap business. Certainly you're going to remember to make the soap. And if you are a brand new soap maker who's just kind of chewing around the edges of maybe this could be a business, I know that seems ridiculous. Like, I love making soap. I would do it every day. There's no possible way that I would forget to do it or even get behind in your soap making. But you will be surprised that when you start building a business, this is the first thing that gets neglected. We see it all the time. You're busy creating bank accounts. You're signing up for shows. You're getting your sales tax collecting all dialed in. You're figuring out how to take credit cards. You're building your website. You're working on your marketing. There's all kinds of things that pull at your attention when you are building a business. And it's really easy to kind of forget about that thing that's actually most critical. So as a business owner, you are going to be super busy. You're signing up for the show. You're prepping for the show. You're telling everyone you're going to be at the show. You're going to and running the show. Then you're cleaning up after the show, doing the books for your show, restocking and repeating. It's amazing how quickly you can become quite busy when you're owning a soap business. And pretty soon you look around and you find yourself asking, what happened to all my soap? It's a good problem. It means you sold it. But it is still a problem. And especially when your product needs 6 weeks to cure, you got to plan ahead. And you have to make sure you don't get in the uncomfortable spot of, I'm getting low on soap, because that's a whole level of panic. Or even worse, I'm out of soap. That's a whole nother level of panic. We want to make sure that we can keep that from happening in your soap business. This is one of our facial bars. Oh, yep. And this one has a fun swirly design on the inside too. See. Like that. Looks like clouds when you have those clouds that kind of have the wispies that kind of hang down. If you are just getting started with your business and you don't have the soap production plan dialed in, you have a plan for how you're going to continue, renewing your inventory, making new soaps, and making sure that you don't get anywhere near the low on soap or out of soap anxiety attack, then if you have not done that, then this is item number 1. We need to make sure that your inventory is on a cycle so that you're always producing more. There's always new that is cured and drying and ready to be labeled, so that you always have a steady stream of inventory coming into your business. Now, if you don't have this dialed in, if you don't have a plan for your soap production plan, and you're saying, yeah, I have some soaps around, but I have been kind of busy, kind of thinking about businesses or signing up for shows or whatever. And my soap maybe needs a little bit of a boost here, especially if this starts to take off. Then I want you to stop everything in your whole business thing, take a pause, and go make 10 bars in 10 different fragrances. That will be 100 bars of soap. And that's a start. That's a good start. It's a good batch of soap. So then while you're continuing to do things with your business, you've got 10 bars in 10 different fragrances curing, and that will be ready then 6 weeks from now. Then I want you to set a time each week when you are going to make soap. And then set another time when you're going to cut that soap and label any other soaps that are ready to be labeled. This will keep your inventory fresh and stocked, and you will know that there's a there's a steady parade of new soaps coming every week, new batches that are ready, and new things that are coming into your inventory. Now, it doesn't have to be a lot. Like, you're not going to do 10 bars in 10 fragrances every week. Just 2 or 3 batches a week is enough, but it has to be every week. It's more important that you be consistent and do it every week than that you set aside, one day to make 20 batches of soap. That's helpful, but it's a flash in the pan. We need to set a routine and a plan for how to keep a consistent supply of soap in your business. Now, consider the holidays and consider the lead time on that, and plan your production, like plan what kind of soaps you're making around that kind of thing. If Christmas is coming up, remember, like when you're going to sell that Christmas soap is, well in advance of Christmas, and then you need 6 weeks before that for your curing time. So you're probably way back by Labor Day when you're making your soaps for Christmas there. But think about all the holidays, all the kinds of soap that you want to have available at different times of year, and then back your production up from that so you've got plenty of time to order supplies, make the soap, 6 weeks of cure time, and that you're in advance of whatever that holiday is, because Valentine's soap don't sell on Valentine's Day. They sell in the middle of January and before that. So just back that all up, make yourself a little plan so that you're making soap every week, and also what soaps you will be making. Here's what you don't want to have happen. You're packing for a show. You've got a show this weekend. You're super excited. You're packing and you realize you don't think you have enough soap. Now, if you get to the point where they're like all of a sudden the shelves are just empty and you're not even sure what happened here, now you're down for the next 7 weeks, because it's going to take you a little bit to get all that soap made, and then it needs 6 weeks to cure. And if you have other shows that you've committed to, or other places that you've committed to be with your products, now you have a problem. Because there just isn't a way to speed up the process. It has to have that 6 weeks to cure. So now there are other products you can make. You can probably sneak by with some lotions or lip balms or something else that doesn't have the cure time. But for the soap, you got to have this plan in place so that doesn't happen to you. Here's what is way better than having the panic of, oh my goodness, I'm low on soap or I'm out of soap. If you realize that maybe your inventory isn't keeping pace with your shows and with what you're selling and stuff, if you know you have 2 or 3 batches of soap coming, you can always adjust that production volume. Say, okay, I've been making 2 batches of soap, but I'm not keeping up. I'm going to up that to 3. I'm going to up that to 4. I'm going to make double batches, whatever it is. You can always adjust the production. If you have a consistent supply of soap, you're never out. You might be low, you might not be keeping up, but at least you still have those 2 or 3 batches coming every week. That's way better, and it's way easier to weather the, oh boy, I sold a lot of soap at this show now, but there's 2 or 3 more batches coming. We can still do the next show. Even if we're low, we're not out. So it's a way better situation than making a whole bunch of soap in one day, assuming you've got a ton, doing a bunch of shows, and at the end going, wait a minute, where did it all go? So get that routine together. So making soap every week, cutting, labeling, just get just a little bit of soap. But if you've got that consistency, that's a better situation for your business than doing flash in the pan. We made a bunch of soap all in one day. Ooh. Fun swirling going on in this one. This one will be called Winter Winds. Making it with the idea of a winter themed kind of soap. Now, how do you plan your show soap production? The first question you have to answer is, how many soaps do you need for every show? And this is probably one of the most frequently asked questions inside our business course, is like, how do I know how to pack? How do I know how many to bring? And in the end, I feel like it's better to overpack than to underpack. But here's kind of my rule of thumb. We're going to talk about a craft show here. This is an in-person sale where you have a little booth and everybody else has little booths, and people are walking around past your booth and past other booths as well. And here's the, like, just to get the right picture in your mind, in case we live in different places. So let me just clarify what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, this is a local show to you. It's in one of the towns close by where you live. This is a small town. We're talking about 20 to 40 vendors. Like, we're not in the hundreds of vendors. This is a small gathering, and it's from like 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. on a Saturday. Like that kind of a show. Okay, so that's what I have in my mind. If you are a soap vendor at that show, I think you could expect to sell between 30 and 50 bars of soap at that show. That again, those are averages, and it might, like, if this is the first time you've been at that show, if it's a holiday show and you've never been there before as a vendor, it maybe that's in your second year. Like, the first year people are just realizing you exist, and the second year they go, oh, that's right, I saw her, I really liked her stuff, let me grab some more. So 30 to 50 bars of soap, probably more like 30 in your first year, working up toward that 50 in the years previous. But if you're going to sell 30 to 50 bars of soap, you have to take about 100 to the show. Now, you're going to bring, 50 to 70 of those right back home again, but your booth needs to not look picked over. It needs to not look like, this is the last bar of soap that I have. Everybody needs some variety so that they can make choices and do their shopping comfortably that way. So you're going to need to take 100 bars to the show. So now, this is also assuming a couple of things. We're assuming you're at a good show, that the organizers have promoted the show. There's been Facebook ads, there's signs on the street, there's other things. It's been in the paper, it's been posted at the library, and all of those things. We're also assuming you have a good weather day, that you have told your people where you're going to be at for that show, and that you are actively working to engage your customers at the show. If you are at a show for the first time, you didn't tell anybody you were going to be there, it's a blizzard outside and you're sitting there on your phone, you are probably not going to sell 30 bars of soap. But there's just a whole lot of pieces there that aren't working at that particular show. But if all those pieces are in place, likely this is going to be what your show looks like. So now, think about, as you're planning, like, how much soap do I need to be making now? Because how much am I going to need down there? Look at the month that is 2 months ahead of where you are right now. How many shows do you have scheduled in that month? How many have you signed up for? And if there are 2 shows, we'll just use that as an example, 2 shows in that month that's 2 months away, then you need to be making 100 bars of soap in this month to be ready for those shows in that month. So that's how you kind of figure out, how much do I need to be making? Now, you don't probably need to make it all in 1 week, but as you're moving along, maybe you say, oh, maybe I should do like if I'm doing 2 to 3 batches, maybe I need to up that to 5 batches for a couple of weeks, just to make sure I've got enough to handle those 2 shows. So that's how you figure out the volume of your soap production plan as well, to looking ahead, seeing those 2 shows. And, in that case, if there were 2 shows, you would take that number times 50, which is the estimate of how many soaps you could sell. And you need to make 100 bars here to be ready for those 2 shows. Now, that's also assuming that you've got some other soaps in the background. So that'll make up the extra bars you need to take to the show that you'll bring back home. just to help fill out your table. But that's how you plan your soap production volume, looking forward to the shows that you've signed up for. If you are looking for a little bit of help getting yourself organized for your craft shows or your other live in-person sales events, we have a little class that you can take called Craft Show Success that will walk you through all the steps of how do you do your display, how do you interact with people, how do you handle the tech, how do you take credit cards, how do you handle the back end of your bank account and collecting sales tax and all of those things. That class will help you navigate those things well and know that you're at least 90% ready for that 90% ready for that first show. So Craft Show Success will help you with that. If you are feeling like, this is a lot, and I just wish that I had somebody to talk to about my business, someone to bounce ideas off of. The reality is, owning a business can be a lonely spot. Almost nobody gets what you are doing every day and the load that you carry. You need to find a spot where you can be connected to others who are doing exactly what you're doing, and they get what you're struggling with, or the things you have questions about, or even just the pieces that I just need somebody who understands what I'm doing. You need encouragement and to be inspired, even in your business. If you are thinking, gosh, that sounds like a great place, where do I find that place? We offer a course called Build Your Business. Right now, it's available as a self-study course, meaning you can do it at your own pace. But in January, we offer a live version of this course. And if you purchase the self-study now, you get a free ticket into the live version. So you kind of get both there if you'd like that. But this is a great place to connect with other people who are doing exactly what you're doing, who are building almost the same kind of business that you are building and facing the same struggles and the same challenges. And just it helps to know that, first of all, you're not alone. There are other people to talk to. There are other people facing the same thing you're facing. And here are even some ideas. Here's what that person did. Here's how this person handled that. And just gives you some ideas of how to handle these things and some encouragement and support along the way. So if that sounds like a great situation, you would love to be part of that class, you would love to be part of a group like that, you would love to be able to bounce ideas off of other people, I would encourage you to check out the Build Your Business Self-Paced course. Again, like I said, right now, you will just have access to the teaching. You can work your way along. It's just at your own pace. Do your thing in your time. It's okay. In January, then, you'll get to be part of our live class and part of all the conversations, all the people, all the things that are going to help everybody get their businesses in the best place possible. So I would really invite you to check that out. It's a great opportunity to make sure you've got all your business pieces together, but also that you've got a new little support team of others who are doing exactly what you're doing. So encourage you to check that out. Don't let your brand new soap business make you so busy that you stop making soap. Not only does this cause your business to run out of stuff to sell, but isn't the love of soap making why you started this business to begin with? So make sure that you don't neglect this, both for your business and for you. It is super important not only to keep that thing that you love, the reason you started your business, that thing that's kind of, this seems a little silly to say, but it's like it's an input for you. It's a creative outlet, but it also just feeds you on the inside a little bit. It's important to maintain that, especially when the busyness of creating a business, but also your soap business needs that inventory. So give yourself a reward. Take some time every week, make that soap, and really enjoy yourself in the process. In our next video, we're going to talk about how to get your soap business in front of a lot of people immediately and for free. Join me here in our next video as we explore how to use social media to promote your soap business. I'll see you there.